one of the biggest challenges facing San Antonio, I believe, is where we want to be in the future, and what kind of an impact we're going to have with the country and in a global economy. And so we do some wonderful things very well. You know, our biosciences are very important here in San Antonio. Obviously, our tourism is a vital link to who we are as a community. But I think that the key and the challenge is education. And so for me, the future is going to be about what we can do to make sure that we're creating an educated workforce for the future jobs and technologies. And so that becomes a real big challenge, I think. I think it's a challenge not only for San Antonio and Texas, but the entire nation.
I think the one aspect that I cherish most about San Antonio, and when I move away or if I decide to stay here, is that it's a great family to it's a great city to raise a family. It's a great place to have kids and to raise them, and it's just it's a friendly city, and it's warm outside, so you don't have to worry about stuff like that. Yeah, and it's a great city to grow up in, and I feel like it's given me a lot, and I'd like to give back to the community that's given me so much.
Yeah, I think, again, because I moved here about 5 years ago from Los Angeles, one of the things I really like about San Antonio is that it's a big city, but yet it feels like it's a small, town that everybody knows. A lot of people here. It's easy to, most of the networks, the different field areas that it's easy to access, that people are friendly. And there's also, I think that would be nice to preserve, of course. I really like the idea that it's a lot of like the Mexican-American culture and the Chicano culture is still really everywhere. It's been here for many years, but it still is there, and the art and the music and culturally is great, and the food and everything. So hopefully that will be preserved. And the other thing, hopefully we preserve the fact that there's not much traffic. I love that. Hopefully there's not gonna be a lot of freeways and it'll be crazy like LA or other biggest cities. So
San Antonio is a really colorful city, and I feel like that we should really maintain its culture.
When I think about the future of San Antonio and what we want to preserve and maintain in the future in 10 years from now, it's about the confluence of cultures. I think that is the most relevant and authentic thing about San Antonio and what makes us such a unique city to live in. The fact that we have a confluence of cultures, that we have majority-minority city is a very unique aspect in our community, as well as all of the different cultures. The immigrant influence is such a unique perspective in our city, and whether it's the German influence, the Spanish influence, and of course Mexico and Central America, it's coming together as a community and understanding and sharing values and culture that is going to be very, very important to maintain. And it's something that we don't necessarily, that we take for granted. And it's something that we need to spend more time in understanding and appreciating so that we make sure that it's something that remains. We don't want a homogeneous society in San Antonio. Our strength lies in the diversity of our people and in our cultural community. And so to me, that is the most important thing to maintain in the future. Improve. It goes back to education, that I think that our community needs to spend more time and effort in educating our children and our youth. We have an issue and an interesting dynamic here is that we have multiple school districts as opposed to a unified school district. So what it makes is our job and our leaders' jobs more difficult to understand the needs of each student. I'm a big believer that every student learns differently and that you have to apply individual learning in the education system, and it's another issue of being homogenous. You can't be homogenous when you're looking at the future and the impact that our education has. There's wonderful models that San Antonio can look at, and I'm hoping that our leaders and our educators and our administrators really look at what we're doing to make sure that we are creating an educated workforce, but not just an educated workforce and an educated community. So that's the one thing that I would add.